You're attacking me with a paper towel roll. I can't shoot you because you're attacking me with a paper towel roll. It has to be a reasonable belief that you are trying to offer me violence that will cause me serious bodily injury or death. So, just person to person, I have to defend myself against a reasonable belief that I'm going to suffer serious bodily injury or death. So if it's not that situation, then I can't use deadly force. And that is justification. So there are all kinds of cases on this and just what justification is. Another defense under 16.323 is Georgia's version of the stand your ground law. And that received a whole lot of publicity several years ago. In Georgia, it says that you do not have a duty to retreat prior to the use of force. It applies to defending yourself or somebody else, and it applies to defending your property and your habitation. Now, what I will tell you is that to defend your home, you're allowed a little bit more leeway. You cannot, and I think I got a slide on here, you cannot defend your property with deadly force. So when we use deadly force against somebody, and deadly force for us is force that's intended or likely to cause death or great bodily harm, when we do that, we're only doing that to save somebody else's life, save our life, or to stop somebody from committing what's called a forcible felony. So there are certain times that we can do it to stop somebody from committing a crime. And that would be rape, murder, and just a handful of certain crimes. Defense of habitation, it's also a part of 16.323, identifies when force may be used to protect your home. So one of the key things in protecting your house is a violent and tumultuous entry. So he asked the question earlier about hearing somebody coming in and having some way to know it. So if you're laying in the bed and you hear the door bust open and glass breaking, you don't have to wait until they threaten you to use deadly force against that person. So if you're home, and then there have been quite a few cases in Metro Atlanta where people have done this, you can defend your home and yourself if that violent and tumultuous entry took place. So you're home and the door crashes in, you don't have to wait until they come up into your bedroom or wait until they're coming at you and you feel scared to do something. Inside your home, you can protect your home if you have a reasonable belief that they're entering to do violence. So by them bashing the door down, and there's a lot of things where you'll hear 911 calls and they're saying, hey, he's trying to get in, he's banging on the door, I'm scared, what do I do? You don't have to wait until they're right on top of you to use force if you're protecting yourself and your home.
Question here. Does it mean have entry inside your house or could it be your property line, like backyard?
The property line, so, and the example that I would like to talk about is if I'm in the house and they're violently breaking into my barn to steal my tractor or something that's in the barn, I can't shoot across the yard because and that's where this next one comes in, defense of property. So if he's violently entering my barn, that's separate from violently entering my home. And it goes back to where your home is your castle, and that's your place, and that's where you should feel safe. You don't have to wait in that circumstance, but if you're watching him and he's breaking into the barn to steal your rakes and shovels, you can't shoot him while he's doing that. So, the use of deadly force is not authorized to protect property, and that's the example. There are certain circumstances where you can use non-deadly force, but you can't use deadly force to protect stuff. So.
Question. Can you booby trap your home?
All right, so that's very specifically listed in the law. There used to be things called set guns. So I want to protect my home, so I'll put a shotgun so that when somebody opens the door, it goes off and it blasts. Nope, and that's specifically listed as not authorized. So, yeah, booby trap in the house is not, if you're doing it, has anybody seen the movie Home Alone where he does all that stuff, probably okay, but leaving guns or leaving this or leaving that, probably not all right.
Question, if they're already in the house, can I shoot from behind?
I'm not gonna give 100% answer on that, because it's possible,
Right.
but where you might run into trouble is if you shoot from behind as he's going out the door. You might be okay, you might not be okay. It all depends on your perception, and listen, things happen really fast, so if he's here 1 minute, and you get the gun up and make the decision to shoot, and he's decided to run, and you're shooting right here, you may shoot him in the back.
Right.
And that may be okay, but if you're down the hall, and he's leaving with your TV, and you say, that's not so good. So that's kind of a gray area right there that might be okay and might not.
What if you see that and you yell at him, hey, freeze, but it's also within 1 second.
Right.
You turn around and shoot you.
Right. So a lot of that's going to go back to, and you're going to be interviewed by us when it happens. We're going to come, we're going to say, what happened? And if you reasonably felt in fear of your life, the guy just broke into my house with a gun, and when I said stop, he turned with the gun, and I wasn't waiting on him to get it all the way pointed at me, and I shot him. That's probably going to be okay. Again, and I didn't put this in there. I'm not giving anybody legal advice tonight. I'm just giving y'all some information on the law.
So, like, if you feel your life is in danger, like you want to use like weapons, but do you need to always say freeze first before you start shooting, or you don't have to?
So we have rules about that we're supposed to announce our intention to use force, but y'all don't have to worry about that. So, and realistically, like the girl, I think it was Barrow or Bartow, one of those two counties, north of Hall County. I'm sorry, south of Hall County, north of Gwinnett County, kind of in that area. She heard somebody break in. She had a revolver that her husband had taught her to use, and she hid in the closet. And she said, if he takes my stuff, she was home alone, if he takes my stuff, I don't care. Well, he's going through the house, and he finds her in the closet. And as soon as he finds her, she unloads on him. She doesn't say a word, she starts shooting. And it worked out for her because she was ready, and she was prepared, and she was trained enough to deal with that. So you don't have to, listen, reality, if you're hiding, and here's a good example, you've hid under the bed or you've pulled the blankets down over in the corner and he's looking, and you can tell he's looking for you, when he turns his back and he's hunting for you, you can use deadly force right then because you know that he's there to do violence. He's there looking specifically for you. It's not like he's loading up your jewelry and on his way out the door. So there's a lot of gray area in there that very much the facts of the case are going to decide what happens. All right, so this question was asked a little bit ago. If you are contacted by a law enforcement officer while you're in possession of a firearm, whether it's in your car and you get pulled over, or it's on your person and we stop and talk in the gas station, or whatever, if I pull you over and you've got a gun in the car, the best thing that you can do is keep your hands plainly visible. Don't make any sudden movements, don't reach for anything, don't reach back for your license, and tell the officer that you're carrying or transporting a firearm. Police officers are people too, and if you say, hey, I just want to let you know that I have a pistol in my purse, I'm not getting my license out until you tell me what to do, we'll both be a whole lot more comfortable, because you're going to be nervous, I'm going to be nervous, and then when you say, hey, I've got a gun in my purse, I've never had anybody point a gun at me after they told me it was there. All the bad guys that have it and they're trying to sneak it on me, they're not going to tell me it's there before they try to do it. So once you said, hey, I just want to let you know I've got a firearm in the glove box, I got a firearm in the purse, whatever the case is, I will tell you, hey, just come out here and talk to me. I can get all the information I need. I can pull if you give me your name and your birthday, and I type it in my computer, I can pull up your picture, I can pull up your driver's license information from your car, from the tag, I can pull up your insurance information. So we can do everything we have to do, and I don't have to touch that code at all. And you don't have to touch that code at all. So now, I've had quite a few people that had guns on, and that's fine. You tell me about it, well, I'm gonna leave you there, and we're gonna do our business, and I might stay there at the window, I might have you step out, whatever the case is. But don't make any sudden moves. Don't do anything crazy. Make sure that you have a chance to tell him, and if you have a permit, show the permit. But again, in your car, do you have to have a permit to have a pistol in the car? Nope. So you may not always have that permit. The best thing that you can do is make sure that you just plainly communicate. There are some states that require immediate notification to a law enforcement officer. So as soon as you get stopped and he walks up, the first words out of your mouth were, "Sir, I just want to let you know that I have a permit and I have a firearm in the car." Georgia doesn't require that. And so I could stop you and that gun could be in the glove box and you could just say, "Hey, here's my license, here's my insurance card," and you can go about your business and never tell me. But my recommendation is don't let me find it accidentally. Don't, and I've had this happen where hand me the license, "Oh, I just need to get the insurance card," and they open the glove box and go reaching in and there's a gun in there. I don't like that. So it's better to be just completely upfront and honest and say, "Hey, it's here, it's in the trunk, it's in the glove box, it's wherever." And it'll put us at ease and it'll put y'all at ease a little bit too, to help y'all understand. So now let's talk about getting a permit. To get a pistol permit is issued by the probate court in the county where you live. So if you live in Fulton County, the easiest place to go to is off of Roswell Road, 7741. It is a frustrating process to go through, especially in Fulton County. If you live in Fulton County, you know that everything that you do that involves Fulton County is pretty frustrating. But you have to go to the probate court, you have to apply, you have to tell them that you want a permit, you have to fill out the paperwork, then you have to leave there and go somewhere else to get fingerprinted. And there's a fee at the probate court, and there's a fee for fingerprints, and then they send it in, and then you either have to give them a self-addressed stamped envelope so that they can mail it to you, or they call you and say, "Hey, your permit's ready," and you have to go to Pryor Street downtown to pick up your permit. So if you live in Fulton County, I'm sorry, but it's not an easy process. Go to the probate court's website and it'll walk you through the whole thing if you want a permit. All right, so we'll roll into alternatives to firearms. This will be pretty quick. There are things that you can use to help defend yourself and to take responsibility for your safety, and it's not a firearm. So electronic control devices, we carry tasers, and they are designed to conduct electricity from one location to another, and the electricity that it conducts mimics the nerve impulses that are already going on in your body. So you have electricity running through your body right now. Everything that you do involves electricity inside your body. The concept behind these and the taser is that when it hits, it sends ours specifically 19 times per second. It sends a message to tell the muscles to contract. And so you get some very intense muscle contractions 19 times a second. So the idea behind these two, these are civilian versions that you can buy. The new one is this one, the C2. It's the most common now. It's affordable. It's designed to run for 30 seconds. Ours runs for 5 because our goal is to, if we have to use it on you, is to get up there and get you in handcuffs as quick as we can. So 5 seconds, we want to use it for the least amount of time. The 30-second idea is he's decided to attack me and I shoot him with the taser. I'm going to lay it down because if I throw it down and it breaks, then we're in bad shape. I'm going to lay it down and I'm going to run. And I've now got a 30-second head start on him of getting to my car and locking the door, of getting into a business that's open, getting around other people, whatever the case is. I've got a 30-second head start to get there. You have to hit your target with both wires. It's got a positive and a negative, and if just the positive hits, it's not going to work quite as well. So again, here's some examples. You can get it in any color. You can get it in animal print. You can get it pink. You can get it red. You can get it in whatever color you want to. Again, the same thing with these. as with the firearms, if you get one, you have to train with it. You have to practice with it, you have to know how it works, or if the last thing that you want to see is a police officer show up reading the book. Same thing with you, when the bad guy's right there, you don't have time to take the book out and go, all right, I gotta take this off, I gotta push this button, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. It's too late then. So if you get one, practice with it, know exactly how it works, know exactly where you carry it, know how to get to it. And most of all, with any of the stuff that we're fixing to talk about, don't show up at the airport and forget that it's in your bag, because they're gonna go, oh, you can't take that on the plane, throw it in the trash can and go on. And if it's $8 pepper spray, that's no big deal. If it's a $200 taser, $250 taser, that's a big deal. So, and I will say this too as well. Georgia's laws are pretty good. In Georgia, this is not considered a weapon. It's not regulated, it's not controlled. If you leave the state of Georgia, you have to know what the laws are in that state. If you end up in the Northeast for some unknown reason, you're on your own, because these will get you put in jail in the Northeast. They won't in Georgia. So, some of these stun guns, the difference between these and these, the tasers propel the electricity through wires towards the target. All the stun guns and stuff like that you see, if I wanted to use the stun gun on him, I have to be right here. So there's no distance. So if we're fighting, then I can use it, but I can't use it from a safe distance. A lot of these are okay as deterrents. But when it comes right down to it and you're having to use it against somebody, it's not going to get it done, because you're going to be fighting with them at that point. So they have the zap cane, 1,000,000 volts is what it says. Well, yeah, whatever. There are people that will design anything and put it out there for sale and try to take your money from you. So if you go for something like this, understand, at least if you get one that's a flashlight too, you've at least got a flashlight. All right, now pepper spray is a good one. So that one on the left is a pepper blaster. It's got 2 shots of pepper spray in it. It works kind of similar to a firearm. You point it, pull the trigger. This is the more common kind right here. You wear it on the keychain. Again, same thing. You gotta know how to take the safety off. You gotta know how to use it. If you get one of these, I would tell you to get 2. They're not much. These are $6 to $10. Get 2 and spray one of them to practice with. Now, before you do it, go out in the backyard and make sure the neighbor's not out there grilling or anything like that. Know which way the wind's blowing and don't have it blow back on. It's awful stuff. It works. I've used it quite a few times at work. Not the pink one, but I've used it at work plenty of times. And it works, and it's designed to, it's made from regular peppers that they grow in the garden. And it's all concentrated down into an oil that sprays out. And when it hits you, anything that it hits burns a lot. So,
But you cannot carry this into the airport.
right, into the airport, no. But it's, again, in Georgia, that's not considered a weapon. So you can take it into restaurants, you can take it in, and if you have it, if this was my pepper spray and that's what I had chosen to defend myself with, when I get up to leave the restaurant and I'm going to the parking deck or the parking lot or whatever, I've got it right here, all the way to the car. And then I'll unlock the car and I'll get in and I'll put it back in my purse. I've got it in my hand because it's not going to do me any good if it's at the bottom of my purse that's this big. And I haven't seen the bottom of it for 3 weeks, and I got to hunt down and get it, have it out. But again, it's sprayed toward the eyes and nose and all that area. And once it hits, it sets them on fire. It's not instantaneous, and it has a different effect on everybody. Everybody gets a little bit different dose of it, and hurts a little bit different with it. So, going back to the safety aspect of it, the dangers of guns and BB guns. You know, they sell airsoft guns that look just like real guns. One of these on the left is an airsoft gun and one is a real gun, and on the right, one is a real gun and one is an airsoft gun. And you can't tell the difference which one it is. So the airsoft's supposed to come with that orange tip. All the kids know how to break that off and how to do it. So you can't tell by looking at those which one is which. And on the street, and the kids and all that stuff, as a police officer, if either one of those 4 got pointed at me, I'm going to think it's real and I'm going to be shooting back. So if your kids play with those, make sure, I mean, obviously try to make sure they don't break the orange tip off or anything like that. But make sure you know what they're doing with them. One of our guys responded to a call 4 or 5 months ago of a robbery at a gas station. He pulled up, and through the window, he sees somebody standing at the counter pointing a gun at the clerk. And he says, oh, this is it. There's nothing I can do. So he comes out, and as soon as he hits the door to the store, the doors come open, and he's getting ready to shoot the robber who's got the gun pointed at the clerk. And as soon as he says police, the guy jumps and throws his hands up. And there were kids filming a YouTube movie. They had permission from the store guy was in on it, but they didn't know that the witness was going to call 911, and they didn't think about what it looked like to the police officer that pulled up. And it would have been a very tragic situation had that police officer shot the young man. But in the grand scheme of things, he acted reasonably based on what he saw. So even though they market these as toys, they're not really toys when they look just like that. All right, so we'll review anything we talked about, and then we'll hit a couple of questions. And then Kevin's here as well. If y'all want to come and talk to us kind of off on the side, if you got specific questions that you don't want to ask in front of the whole group, come on and we'll answer them that way. So safety is everybody's responsibility. It's a requirement if you own a gun to know how to handle it safely, to know what to do with it safely, and to get to where you can use it safely. You can teach the kids these rules so that they understand it. And then always, 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 good training, find somebody to teach you, and do it on an ongoing basis. Don't do it this year and never do it again because you're going to forget everything that you learned. If you have other questions, there's a couple of associations there that you can